mean, it was the themes that were most resonant with us, his themes about technology and the dangers of technology. That is, we're absolutely committed to in the movie. Tone is different because in interpreting it into a movie, and this is something that Simon has agreed with, we wanted to reach a younger audience with the film because we feel like they're the ones who are most in danger with technology, the ones that have the greatest exposure to it. So we wanted to broaden out the tone to invite in a much bigger audience to watch this movie. We have kids. The movie's a bit of a love letter and meditation to our children on technology and the direction that the world is heading in. And so that was where we diverged, was in tone.
Yeah, I think we were really channeling our relationship to digital technology in general. I mean, that's why we set the movie in the 90s. That was sort of our inflection point where humanity all of a sudden had a digital existence, and it's only grown from there. So really, for us, the movie is a fable about that relationship that sort of began for all of us in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, that was, we wanted to create a fantasy world, but also we wanted it to feel real. So the nostalgia was very useful because it gave us the feeling of realism. It gave us the feeling that this was a life that we recognize. And we liked that. We liked grounding it in that. But we also liked taking it into a fantasy space because it's more fun to explore a lot of the complex real world issues when you put it into a fantasy space. It gives you a little bit of emotional distance. You don't have the same triggers about things that you have in your real life. And I think it allows people to look at these things with fresh eyes and let their emotions flow through them in ways that are more perhaps freeing than real life is.
I mean, it's nice. We spent a long time working on this movie, almost 5 years in total. And so it was a very singular focus. It was a lot of fun to build out the world. We worked in tandem with a production designer named Dennis Gassner, who's one of the best that's ever done the job. And there's a lot of meticulous detail. Thousands of decisions were made in order to build out the world and create the rules of the world and make you feel like you were living in that alternate 1990s. So it was definitely fun and freeing, and a slightly different experience than having to carry the water of many other stories like we did in the Marvel universe.
I mean, you look at, we've spent years now sort of enjoying every aspect of this film as we've been crafting it. So it's hard to pick. But you like the mall, you said?
The mall with the robots, I think, is probably the most fun.
Yeah, the Robot Society.
Yeah.
Look, she's a phenomenal actress, and there's very few actors of her age that have as much experience as she has. She's an extremely wise and skilled actor for her age, and this role asks so much of a young person. She was 18 when we started shooting this movie, Millie. So it was, she has really complicated emotions. She's dealing with a very intense loss in terms of her losing her family and being on a quest to try to find her brother. But at the same time, the world has a sense of levity to it as well, and she has to deal with some comedic characters along the way in the form of Keats or Herman, etc. So she has an incredible range of what she needs to do in performance. So to have somebody of her skill level as a performer was incredible for Joe and I. And we really base our experience of this movie around the exploration of her character. So her partnership in the storytelling is critical.
No, genre's very accessible. Lots of people like watching it. We like pulling in a big audience. We like to get as many people under the tent to hear the story as possible. We're populist filmmakers. This sci-fi fantasy provides for great world building, lots of opportunities to immerse people in a new place and try to surprise them with a story in that new space.
Yeah, and I think from my youth, what I loved about the fantasy space was simply just the ability to let your ideas and your emotions flow in a new place, where you don't have the baggage you have in your real life. And I think it's helpful to people to explore who they are, their identities, their feelings, their ideas, their beliefs, in a space that is less restrictive than reality.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few things that we're kicking around. I mean, it's not a novel, but we have the rights to Battle of the Planets, which was an anime from when we were younger that we love, that we've been quietly working on for a few years now.